Hi guys, and welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Janelle. I am a college sophomore at Mercer University studying marketing and graphic design. So today is January 1st, or when this video is going up is January 1st. Today it's New Year's Eve, so Happy New Year. I decided that I wanted to share with you guys my New Year's intentions for 2020. I like to say intentions instead of goals just because I feel like goals, the connotation for goals and the connotation for intentions to me personally is kind of different. Intentions mean that like I intend to do these things, but if they don't happen, then they don't happen. Whereas the connotation for goals is just very, I don't know how to explain it. It just makes me feel like a lot more stressed out and a lot more like if I don't do it, then I've failed or something like that. So I prefer to say intentions rather than goals. So yeah, for this year, to kind of change it up, I decided to break the categories down or break my intentions down into categories and then break those categories down into individual goals. So I have 6 different categories. If you see me looking down, it's because I've like wrote all this stuff out, so I'm like looking down at it. But the 6 categories are academic, health, fitness, mind, body, and career. Basically, I just broke those down into those categories because I decided I'm going to do like a whole little mini series. I'm going to call it 2020 Road to Happiness, I think that's what it's called, or Journey to Happiness, something like that. I'll have it figured out by the time the first part goes up. But that's just because I came to the conclusion at some point this semester and this year that I was just living a very content life. And while there's nothing inherently wrong with being content and living a content life, I just decided that I'm about to be 20 years old and I'm at the part where feel like I'm settling into a life and I'm settling for my mental health, and I'm settling for my academic progress and just settling for a lot of things, just settling. And I didn't want to settle, and I'm just overall I'm feeling a sense of contentment. Like I'm not overly upset about how things are going, but I'm not overly happy about how things are going, and I don't want to be at that point in my life at 19 going into 20. So that's hence the whole road to happiness, journey to happiness, which is another reason why these are intentions. And I don't want them to be goals because goals feel very, that's what it was. Goals feel very set in stone and very definite. Intentions feel very indefinite to me. These are things that I want to continue to do throughout my life and just kind of build upon and keep working on as I go about my life. So, yeah. So as far as my intentions for this year, I only have 8. I thought about doing 20 because it's like 2020, but I didn't have that. I really just want to focus on things that will help me start gearing towards the life that I want. And so I feel like these 8 things will get me on the right track towards that. So the 8 things are establishing routine, developing a steady routine, period, eating more intentionally, tracking my fitness, establishing a cleaning routine, living more mindfully, treating my insides and outsides better, and not waiting for permission. So just a little explanation behind each of those. Establishing routine, I just don't have one. I've tried so hard to establish like a morning routine and a night routine, and they typically work for like a day or like a day to 3 days. And I want a routine, and I think having routines is something that I, as a person, strive behind. Over the summer, I worked full time, 8 to 5, as a receptionist, and so doing that, I was at work as I had like a routine. I had my morning routine that I did every single morning, and I had a night routine that I did every single night, and I never felt better than I did this summer when I was working full time and I had that routine. And so I want to get back to that and establish a routine. And yeah, because I just feel like having a good morning routine is just so helpful. Even like the few times I've done it, it was amazing. So I really want to establish one and stick to it, and not like I just want to have one base of a routine that I just kind of stick to. So yeah, developing a steady routine. I'm not doing great. Like, I'm not doing awful in school, but I'm also just not doing how I wish I was doing. And one of those things is that I feel like I need to change how I'm studying and how I'm approaching studying. So that's one of the things I feel like I need to do, is develop a study routine. So look out for a lot more study with me's as I kind of fiddle around with a study routine and find different ways to study and things like that. I recently got an iPad for Black Friday, and so I'm going to buy GoodNotes. I think it's like the top one that everybody suggests or recommends, and I'm going to try my hand at taking digital notes this semester and seeing how that goes for me. So yeah. The next one is living more intentionally. No, eating more. The next one is eating more intentionally. Yeah, I don't do that. I have such a weird relationship with food, and meaning that sometimes I just don't eat, sometimes I do eat, sometimes I eat way too much, sometimes I eat way too little, and I just want to eat more intentionally. I want to put foods into my body that are good for it, and I also don't want to restrict myself. I'm looking at doing more of a plant-based diet, but not like a full plant-based or vegan diet, because I still want to eat meats and I still want to eat poultry and seafood. I still want to eat those things. So I'm going to try to do a lot more whole foods and focus a lot more on getting my good whole foods in, I guess, if you want to say that. And just start looking at more of a plant-based diet and having protein and meat, well, not protein, but having like meat be more of a secondary thing rather than like a primary thing in a lot of my meals. Not because like I feel like meat's bad for me or anything. It's just something that I kind of am interested in checking out and seeing how my body reacts to that and seeing how I do with that. So that's something that I'm going to explore this year, is trying a lot more healthy plant-based meals. So yeah, I'm also going to really focus on trying to live, I think it's an 80-20 diet. I might be wrong, it might be 90-10, but essentially what that is, or that whole scope is that 80% of your foods are good, whole, nutritionally healthy foods, and 20% of it is things that aren't that good for you. So like cake and twits and stuff like that. So that's what I'm going to try to be more mindful of. I'm also going to track my macros, but not track macros in the sense that I am going to like have macros, more so in the sense that I want to know how much am I eating, like how many calories am I consuming a day, what am I consuming, those type of things. Am I getting an adequate amount of protein in my diet? Am I getting an adequate amount of carbs and good fats in my diet? Which will help me with tracking my fitness, which is my next intention. When I say track my fitness, I more so mean that I want to track my exercises I do, and track my measurements a lot more, and just kind of keep a journal, which I'll go back into, which I'll mention later and in my other intentions. But yeah, because I used to track measurements and I used to track with my workouts. I typically get workouts from other Instagram influencers, so it's easy to track them because I'll save them onto my phone. But it's still one of those things where I want to have like my workouts and see, compare that to what I ate, and then see how I felt throughout the day, and see how me doing those workouts for a whole week, how that affected my measurements, and should I change up something? Do I need to change up my split? And I just, because I've hit a plateau, I feel like, in my fitness journey, where I like working out and I like it, but I'm just kind of like not super motivated because I'm not seeing physical results and I'm no longer feeling them either. So I thought that if I go and I start tracking it and being more mindful about tracking it, that I will be able to kind of see progress better. And if I'm not seeing progress, I can kind of pinpoint things easier and maybe change my diet or change my workout split and do stuff like that. So the next one is establishing a cleaning routine. I would consider myself a very messy, neat person. My room is always like a reflection of whatever my mental state is in. So if I'm having a good mental week, then it's going to be a clean room. If it's not a good mental week, then it's not. So that's something I'm hoping to go ahead and like with this whole journey. I do want to start focusing a lot more on my mental health and getting help for it. So I'm hoping that that will kind of be resolved. But yeah, so I just really want to establish a cleaning routine because as I just mentioned, I'm a very big believer in your outer space is a good reflection of your inner space. And so I just feel like even if maybe I'm not having a good mental week, maybe I can still clean and keep my room clean. It's just so it can make me feel better. So that's the only reason I want to establish a clean routine. The next one is I want to live more mindfully, which goes into eating more intentionally and stuff. A lot of these are very much so connected, but yeah, living more mindfully just means that I want to be more mindful about what I'm putting out into the world. And yeah, I want to be a lot more mindful about what I'm putting out into the world and what I'm perceiving myself as to people and how I'm treating other people, and just be more mindful about that type of stuff and just be a more mindful person overall, because I just feel like I'm not I don't know how else to explain it. I just feel like I'm not, and I want to change my outlook on things and change my mindfulness in regards to how I'm going about the world. I don't know if that makes any sense, but that's what I mean. It's just I want to be more mindful about how I'm perceiving myself to the world and what I'm putting out into the world in regards to, especially in regards to what I want to get back into the world, get back from the world. So I want to treat my insides and outsides better, which goes into every single thing that I've been saying. Yeah, I'm a very big believer in like the whole outside state and mental. I'm a very big believer in that your body is very connected. So one of the things I want to do is learn a lot about my gut health. Like I want to be a lot more mindful about my gut health and making sure that I'm treating it well, because I've heard people say that your gut is your second brain, just because there's so much stuff going on down there. And I will say, like, very much so that if I have been eating poorly or anything like that, I just feel awful. If I haven't been eating, or if I ate too much, or I've just have like a really poor diet, I just feel really gross. Whereas if I've been eating really good and all that type of stuff, then I feel a lot better. So I just really want to pay attention to what I'm eating and what I'm putting into myself. And I also want to make sure that I focus on my outer appearance. I feel like I've regretted, like not regretted, not I've neglected self-care as far as doing like skincare and stuff like that. Um, just because I don't have time for it, and I'd rather sleep instead of doing that. I just feel like I've like neglected it because of those reasons, and I really shouldn't. Because it's just something to treat my skin and to make me feel better. Um, so yeah, I really want to get better at doing that, and I also want to get better at dressing better. I don't know if that makes any sense. I do have to dress up for work, but I don't want to have to dress up for work because I feel like I have to. I want to dress up for work because I want to. I want to dress up for each day because I want to. I want to look nice and present myself the best way possible. Because I was thinking about the fact that I typically will dress up really nice for like the first day of classes, because I want to give a good impression to my professors and to like my other classmates. And after that, I just don't care anymore. And I was like, I don't understand why I do that, because even still, like I should still present myself the way that I want people to see me, and I want people to see me as like somebody who cares about themselves. So yeah. Lastly, don't wait for permission. Yeah, that's my whole quote of this year is don't wait for permission, because that's my whole quote for this year is not waiting for permission, simply because I feel like. And lastly, don't wait for permission. My last intention and also my motto / quote for this year. It comes from Annie Atkins, and she is a graphic designer for film and TV shows. She's amazing, and she's basically encouraged me, because one of the things I was like struggling a lot with this semester is trying to figure out with graphic design, what can I even do with that, and whether or not I would want to do graphic design or just do marketing. And I learned about the world of designing props for film and TV shows through her, and I fell in love. So I now know what I want to do if I decide to pursue just graphic design. But in an interview or an article she wrote, she basically talked about how the first time, no, she talked about how she reached out to a bunch of directors and offered to do their movie posters for them. And like just a bunch of directors that were in her area, and she offered to do movie posters for them. And she said that she didn't get a response back from any of them. Then she realized that she was telling them everything that she could do for them, but she wasn't showing them anything. And so she decided to just make a movie poster, and she sent it to them, and then she ended up getting responses back. And that's when she realized that she shouldn't wait for permission. She should just do it. She shouldn't, don't wait for permission to make a movie poster, make the movie poster. And it was just something that stuck with me and made me like realize that I just have been waiting for permission for a long time. I've been literally waiting for permission when it comes to like graphic design projects that I want to do. And I've been figuratively waiting for permission when it comes to just my daily life. Because one of the things I've realized through this year is that I'm really been struggling with my mental health and with my anxiety. And so that's something that's been taking a toll and is starting to become a big factor in my life, more than I want it to be. And so if you have anxiety, or if you know anybody with anxiety, then you know that having anxiety can stop you from doing a lot of things, and it can like hold you back from a lot of stuff. And so for me, I just felt like that's what was happening to me, is I was just kind of being held back from doing things that I would enjoy, or doing things period, just because I was so scared and I didn't want to do stuff without permission. So yeah, and so now I've just decided that I'm not going to wait for permission anymore. I'm not going to wait until I feel comfortable or wait for somebody to tell me, like, oh yeah, you can do that. I'm going to do things, and I'm going to be of interest and do things that scare me more often. And so, yeah, that's those intentions. As far as the little mini series, I'm thinking, as far as the little mini series that I mentioned, 2020 Road, I'm gonna figure it out. Road to Happiness, Journey to Happiness, one of those two. We're gonna figure it out. As far as that goes, I'm thinking about uploading those on Wednesdays. Um, I'm going to try one of my things, one of my little social media things, like, or just something to put in the back of my mind that I've been like really working on, is being more consistent and active on social media, as far as like YouTube and my fitness Instagram and my YouTube, my Instagram period. Just being more active on those, because I feel like I've been slacking a lot on them. And so I'm going to try to put up 2 videos a week on Wednesdays and Sundays. So yeah, Sundays I may have some of my 2020 videos go up on those days, but for the most part they'll be going up on Wednesdays. And to kind of hold myself accountable, my plan is that whenever I get done with this semester, I'm going to do like a check-in, because especially since a lot of these things are me keeping my school in mind and stuff like that, I'm really just keeping like college life in mind when I made these intentions. So with that being said, at the end of the semester, I'm going to check in with you guys so that I can confirm whether or not I did stick with these intentions, or if I like just kind of see where I am with them, or my journey to happiness or road to happiness. I don't know. You guys leave in the comment section below which one sounds better to you, journey or road to happiness. Either one sounds good to me, as I keep saying them both interchangeably. So yeah, I'm really excited about this series. I'm really excited about the new year. I'm terrified that I'm going to be turning 20 in April, but yeah, I'm excited because I'm excited for everything that this new year holds. 2019 wasn't awful, but it wasn't the best. It wasn't at all what I wished it was going to be like. So I'm really excited to see how the new year turns out for me. So thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you on, it's going up on Wednesday, so I'll see you on Sunday.